And I have this issue with a lot of motivational speakers.
Yeah.
You walk out of a motivational session and you're like, they said a lot of great things, but there's nothing relatable to me.
Why are you trying to motivate us to work? But then you care that we know that we spend
3 different cars.
Yeah. Young people have become experts at lying to themselves. They have an encyclopedia volume of complaints of what has made them be where they are.
Right.
None of them even has a page of the role that they play into where they are.
The biggest challenge that I think a lot of young people have to overcome is the idea of overnight success. It's a myth.
It's a myth.
A lot of young people are taking shortcuts, but the idea of the faking is easy.
People at 24 still think that they have time and the best thing to do is to post and get validation.
But it's difficult for you to start to make sound decisions when your basic instinct is survival. There is this, I don't want to say the word entitlement, but there's this concept of we've worked hard, we've educated you, we've sent you to school. Now you've started working, you're living the life. Please, you need to take care of us. It's difficult for you to think about building yourself when you have all this that you're carrying.
I'm telling you, like, because you reach 30, you reach 30 and any excuse you
There's
can
no
have,
excuse.
people will laugh at you.
Yeah.
Even if you came from a troubled background, you've had 30 years.
You get to your 30s and you realize, actually, I should have gone the other route. And that is when now life starts to say,
nobody's coming to save you. Stop with the wishful thinking.
Exactly.
What is the closest to a script or a formula of decision making?
A lot of people wait until
it gets
too late.
And even now,
you don't have more time to waste.
You have more time to waste.
Once you feel like you're struggling with something, please reach out. There's so much power in being vulnerable.
Yeah. So welcome to the Right People to Meet podcast. My name is Tumu Siime, and today we have a very big heavy hitter, a friend, a person that you can call a mentor, a person that is really, really passionate about improving people's lives, a person that is passionate about seeing young people realize their potential, a person who you can actually look up to and emulate and end up in a good place. He is currently the corporate affairs manager at Kira Motors. He had a TV show on urban television, EcoZone, which won the award for best travel show. And also he has won an award himself for that show. He has worked with several organizations ranging from conservation, ranging from, I don't know where even to start and where to stop. But we are in studio today with Shaban Senyange. Nice to have you, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
If I'm to introduce everything about yourself, I think we shall be here for the whole day.
you know what's exciting? Say sometimes people know different versions
of you.
So when people are introducing you, like, I didn't know this about myself, but these people. So that's how I felt with it. I was like,
that's actually like this podcast. The reason why we have this podcast is to try to talk to young people.
Right.
I think when I was talking to you earlier on, I explained that the whole concept of this thing is to try and, make young people understand that as we keep getting older in life, most of the things that tend to happen to us are a summation of the decisions that we have made.
Right.
Somebody said that when he analyzes all people that are successful, there's one thing they have in common. They spend more time on trying to avoid those mistakes where you fall off the cliff.
Right.
What is the closest to a script or a formula of decision making? What is that art of decision making? Because like I know, Shaban, you had a master's when you were, did you get your master's?
24.
At 24?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So you had a master's, I think if I'm correct, from Malaysia, right?
Yeah.
At 24.
Yeah.
Scholarship or not?
Yeah, it was
Scholarship. Imagine, so people at 24 still think that they have time, and the best thing to do is to post and get validation.
Right.
People are really making like basic mistakes. Now, that's not bad, because that's the age. But then, even when you're doing all that, what's that advice you can give to somebody so that they have a little bit of a refined process of making decisions? What is that way they can visualize them, project them to the future, and say, how it affects them?
You really set me up for failure with this question.
It's really something. Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a background where even though certain expectations were had, they still let me be my own person. Then again, like I said, not to go without the disciplining. But with decision making, because I remember going back to our earlier conversation, the family really, really wanted me to be a doctor. They badly, because like your grades are good, you see the kind of person that you are, character, you make an amazing doctor. And I'll tell them, doctors are great. I love what they do, but I have a deeper love for animals. And I did not know what that meant or what that translated into in terms of jobs. And I didn't make life easier for me when I was like, okay, there's veterinary, just focus on wildlife. It was very unheard of. So the first thing my family asked me is like, if you're to work, what does that look like? If you're to get a job. And at the moment, the only thing that I knew was, I don't want to be in a national park. I don't want to be a ranger. I don't want, so that wasn't sorted out. But I just knew like this is something that I want to do. I wasn't on scholarship at the time, but I eventually got it like in my second year. So for me, the one thing that I was really, really heavy on is like right now, I don't have to worry about anything. For the next 2 years, let me try to pursue a career in something that I actually want to do. That was number one. The second thing that I did was, the family doesn't know much, so I didn't have a particular mentor who would help me look into the right picture or, help me point me in the right direction, which a lot of young people have lately.
That's it. How do you sieve through mentors? How would you sieve between? Because sometimes, sometimes somebody, there's this success that looks superficial.
Right.
But then there's success that is success. If I'm on, and you know what's funny is that the success that is actually success is not, it's not glowing.
Right.
It's the other one.
Exactly.
So how does someone separate between that?
I'm going to answer it with what I know now and what I would have known then. I think there's so much to learn from someone who tells you about their success story, but does not shy away from telling you what their biggest struggles were.
Wow.
Because that is really someone to learn from.
That's a test now.
Because a lot of mentors and a lot of your motivational speakers are telling you of the things that went right.
In other words, they care about validation and what's
exactly. Yeah. So when someone sits down and tells you, I did this and I failed, and this is what I want you to learn from it.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because you have so much to learn from that. Rather than someone who is, and I have this issue with a lot of motivational speakers. You walk out of a motivational session and they're like, they said a lot of great things, but there's nothing relatable to me.
They look like they were above everybody.
So when someone is vulnerable enough to tell you the time that they were their lowest and how they turn that around to be where they are, there's so much to learn from you. Respect that person, you bond with that person because you see vulnerability. If I'm talking to someone that I want a lot to learn from and all they're painting to me is a perfect picture,
the posts,
that wouldn't be exactly
their social life. I mean, why are you trying to motivate us to work? But then you care that we know that we're in a Benz and you get
3 different cars.
3 different cars.
Exactly. So I think that would be a test for me in terms of motivation. But as if I'm looking out at a mentor as well, and I know a group of people that they're mentoring, I'd look at the line of people that they've mentored, and I see whether there's any success or any.
Oh, wow. So you're saying that also in terms of choosing a mentor, there should be receipts.
Exactly.
Who have you nurtured, and how has the person? What's it again? Which is a word? Is it protege?
The word. What's the word?
Is that what to describe like offspring? Anyway, we shall. So also that in terms of let's say a person who's hunting for that. Let's say a person is hunting for a mentor, but then they're also still at the crossroads of what they need to go through. So, for example, I've shared something that is powerful about how Because I think that much as they wanted you to do medicine, and you didn't want to do medicine, there must be a part of you that felt, should I do medicine? Because it's not that easy a decision.
Exactly.
So let's say when you're still in that area of conflict.
Yeah.
So now, how would you choose a mentor? Because now, like for us right now, where we are a little bit, maybe we are closer to being fully formed. But I think we really know who we can look up to.
Sure.
Even when I'm searching like some advice, my searches are very customized. But somebody is young, so now how do they choose a mentor at that age?
Right now, the young people have the power of the internet.
Yeah.
Bro, they have the power of the internet, and it could be a resource to build.
Yeah.
It could also be a resource for distraction.
Yeah.
And, during our, you remember the days for the modems?
Oh, yeah.
Where you had to like get internet through them. So even how much research you do was a bit restricted.
Okay.
For me, and I think my idea or my description of a mentor, sometimes it necessarily doesn't have to be someone who has walked the same path as you. Doesn't have to be necessarily, say, if I wanted to do that, I'm looking at the likes of Dr. Gladys, David Attenborough, or whatnot. It could also be someone who sees so much potential in you and is willing to really hold your hand and guide you through life.
You're talking about sort of like a circle around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, that person was my high school teacher.
Yeah.
Who, by the grace of God, I was, like a serious student in biology.
Yeah.
So I think there was that common interest, and she knew that I loved all things around like, sciences and like biology and things around physiology and whatnot. So she saw that. And even when I finished high school, there was a lot of conversations around, hey, are you thinking about this? So when I was having a conflict about doing medicine or that, I went and had a conversation with her and I said, this is where I'm at. I could see myself become a doctor, but deep down, I know I wouldn't be fully happy.
Yeah.
But then I know this. I don't know what the careers are going to look like. But this is genuinely what I want.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what? Try to do like a walk-in interview. Go to Uganda Wildlife Authority and have a conversation about what that life looks like, what they studied. Understand that. But at the same time, don't be scared to dive into the unknown.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is restricting about, people stepping into the unknown is the fear for failure.
That's very important. That's it. We fear to dare.
Especially our age.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't have time for that. Young people have that tool because there's no pressure from life at that point. I mean, there is a bit for family, but you're not worrying about bills. You're not worrying about a child, a school fees, or all those
That's if you have
expenses.
made some correct decisions before that time.
That's true.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of that. Even so you have a lot of knowledge to learn from that. And for me, what was helpful was I would get resources shared with me. Oh, have you seen this, scholarship opportunity? That's how I landed the scholarship to study abroad. And I remember that year they selected 3 Ugandans for that program, and I had a week to submit. They told me about it, and it was like a week to
literally, when you're putting together something for that feels like 1 hour.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is hectic. But I told myself, you know what? I'm going to try. If I don't have everything, maybe it will fail. But I was like, I'm going to give it a shot. I was running around like a crazy person. This person needs to sign. This person. Within 3 days, I had everything that I needed.
Wow.
But I think as a person normally, and I still have this, I don't want to call it a problem, it's an issue. When I know a group of people who have so much belief in me, I carry that like it's a problem.
Yeah.
So everything that I do, I'm like, I do not want to let anyone down. If I can't do it for myself, let me do it for this person who really took a chance.
But about that, that one, I think there's a very big thing that we are skipping on that point.
Yeah.
Now, this is probably going to be a very unfair question.
Yeah.
I have known you for a very long time. And I think that you correct me. If I'm wrong, you will say I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I have come to realize that naturally, there are people who are closer to always appreciating discipline than the rest. Now, when I said that, people feel like, I think that the right people who will explain this to you are parents. You notice that if a father or a mother has 10 children or 8, there is one who's more worried about than the other. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. Now, from what you're telling me, I mean, you've never had like a problem of doing rehab. You've never had a problem. Thankfully, you've never had a problem. There are those things that affect people in their 20s. And one thing I've come to realize is I think some people, I don't know if this is harsh, they need to correct more than other people. You find that maybe what you like naturally, you are at a risk of being erratic. So now, if a person happens to be like, you remember when we were in school, there's that one person that was in class, always quiet, wakes up at 4 a.m. even before the rest of you and goes in class, right? Then there was that other child who was notorious. If the people have jumped the face, he's on that list. If they say, "Oh, we're shouting in class," he's on that list. Now, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with that because energy in young children manifests differently. But what can be a very good self-evaluation mechanism for a young person in their 20s, such that if a person is okay, they can keep in that line. But should you also be born with a little bit of extra energy that tempts you? How can you reevaluate yourself and you sort of bring yourself?
Wow. You went for the throat with that one. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have a straight answer to that. I would say, I think going back to, how grounded. I mean, I don't know if I would use the word grounded to define myself.
The word.
Grounded was, and we can talk about religion another time, but I think growing up where, I grew up in a Muslim home and we were practicing and all, I think there were aspects of religion in terms of
your
discipline and how we recited Quran and how we're taught to respect elders. And I know this really cuts across different disciplines as well. And I think having that instilled right from an early stage, and I think understanding the connection with God from that time was helpful. So even when I was away, because I spent quite a lot of school time outside the country. So I was in places where no one was watching. I could have decided.
You could have done well.
Exactly.
But you had something that you put above yourself.
Even alcohol. Like I went for an event where there was wine testing and there was like 60 different types of wine. And I was
you were
like
able
18 or something. And I'm up to date. I've not tasted alcohol.
So if I'm getting what you're saying, you really think it's very important for somebody who's young to pick something that is like a very well tested moral philosophy and put it above themselves.
Exactly, yeah. And also and maybe this will go to parents or people who have a lot of young people around them. I think it's really important to set an environment that allows for people to learn certain things. What do I mean? I think there's a lot of situations where we grow up in homes where your parents are telling you one thing and they're doing the complete opposite.
Something else.
Regardless of how many times you tell that child, do not do this,
they will do it.
If your behavior communicates the opposite,
they will,
that communicates much, much louder.
Much louder.
So the lessons that we are trying to teach our kids,
we should leave them.
Exactly. Your child is going to respect you fully if you're the one who is saying, let us be home at this time. Let us have clear communication. But we have this. If you're wrong, admit you're wrong. Apologize. But when you are the one who has messed up, we have the omozade. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you need to be vulnerable with the child, but when you're in wrong, how do you admit that to a child that doesn't destabilize that connection with the child, where they know, regardless, this is my dad, this is my mom, but this is how they admit mistakes. Like when you're growing up, that your parent is apologizing, they'll call you, they'll buy you gifts. They don't have to say the word they're sorry. You knew they were sorry and they were apologizing to you that. So, and a lot of environments where children have grown up really shapes adults. And when you get into the psychology of whatnot, a lot of adults right now are dealing with issues that happen to them as kids. Childhood trauma, insecurities, confidence.
It's actually also very how does someone even correct from that?
Exactly. So when you trace back to that, you see a bit of dysfunctionality with kids. And this is why you hear a lot of young people say, I want to do better. I don't want to be like my family. I want to be the one.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you'll find people take pride in that, of saying, I'm the first person who has graduated from my family, which is a lot of pride. But when you look at the undertones of that, this is someone who has really spent so much time and energy into their school because they don't want to go back to what home looks like. You know what I mean? So for some people, it has shaped them. To some people, it's been used as excuses not to do better because you're like, regardless of what I do, this is what everybody from my background comes out. You know what I mean? So discipline, and it still goes back to that, you creating an environment that is enabling to the child will really help. You know, I visited a friend of mine and this child was all over the place. They even took my juice from me.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, you're lucky this is not an African home.
Yeah, you would have been clapped.
And then I went back and I was like, I understand the whole aspect of just letting this kid be free, have that free communication and whatnot. And I mean, I can attest to that. We grew up in an environment where that wasn't a thing. The adults say this, the kids. Then again, there's something to learn from what our, Western world counterparts do, but there's also a lot that they could learn from that. Like, I'm not going to let a child yell back at me.
Yeah.
That is not communication,
Yeah.
So the things that they do that make us go, but in terms of how they let creative freedom and how kids express themselves and how you can sit down with a child and have the most in-depth conversation and you're like, but wait a minute.
Yeah.
This kid is actually, brilliant. There's not a lot of conversation. There's a lot more, do this, do that. Do because I am.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Instead of sort of shaping a child to appreciate action and consequence, you literally almost are like just pushing them out of what you think is wrong. And I think that's not better. The other one is better. Let them associate action and consequence of that action.
Yeah, exactly. And now, fast forward when you're 20 and in your 20s and everything, I always tell my friends and people that I know, when you're between 20 and 30, that is the time to learn, grow, do different things, try out different experiences. Personally, I use that time period in my life to do every single thing that came across as passion or curiosity projects. When I felt like, oh, I've always loved to do music.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to get into something, sing. And I would perform at the university.
Wow.
My family had reservations about that. I did it, got it out of my system and realized I don't want to do this anymore.
Music. I know.
I got into modeling and because, when you're in certain parts of the world, having black skin really sells.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I was paid at university to do cover shoots for universities or clothing brands and everything. Did it, got it out of my system. Got into acting, got into creativity. I was passionate about telling stories since I was 13. Got to work on TV, then I was, I loved conservation, got into conservation.
Yeah.
So I used that time to any single thing that looked like, oh, that would be an interesting skill to learn. This would be a nice thing to tap into. I just went. But I was also really, really clear with, I just don't want to be jumping from one opportunity to another. It needed to make sense.
Now that's where we're going to squeeze you from.
Okay.
That's where we're going to squeeze you from. Because we need to know that. Because when you're telling me that, so a lot of people, when we say that a person who is 20 to 30, you have the creative liberty to make mistakes, it's with terms and conditions.
Okay. I should say terms and conditions apply.
Because in a way, what you're describing, much as you're venturing, all I'm hearing is positive things.
Right.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with trying to sing. There's nothing wrong with trying to motivate.
Right.
But then some people, when they're in their 20s and 30s and they tell you the things that they want to try out, you're like, okay, my dear, what you want to try out, it looks like you're just trying it out, but you might need 10 or 15 years to correct it.
Right, yeah.
So if you are to just, in your own way, in your own words, because I feel like there are mistakes that a person should really avoid in their 20s.
Yeah.
Because you can make it in your 20s and you need up to 38 to correct it. What are those? What is that line? What should a person look out for?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. 20 to 30. I know we always just look at papers, whatnot as papers. But with how we are operating right now, within that time, please chase down certification. If you're finishing a degree, please make sure you have it. If you are interested in a skill and you're passionate about storytelling and videography, find certification for it. If you are obsessed about cooking, find a culinary course, get certified in it.
Have a receipt.
Exactly. So that your passion is backed by Professionalism.
That's powerful.
Because at the end of the day, you will apply to that big corporation. You'd want to do partnerships.
Yeah.
And they have their internal audits. And the first thing that they'll say, what shows that you're actually a professional with this? You could be the best person out there. If you don't have that certificate, they're going to give it to someone who is less qualified than you just because they have a piece of paper. So mistake never to do. And let me tell you, when you're in your 20s and 30s, your brain is hungry for knowledge. You want to learn, you want to grow, when you start to hit 30s, let me tell you, you see being in school as just not a waste of time, but let me say like priorities in life have taken a whole different precedence. I always use this example when I'm talking to proper conservationists. So like, don't do this, don't do that. I'm like, right now I cannot go to Bwindi around the national park and tell the communities, don't do this, don't cut down the forest, because at the end of the day, the first thing this person is thinking about, how do I get the next meal? How do I feed the family? How do I put a roof over my family's head? How do I pay for school fees for my kids? You're not going to convince that guy that gorillas are endangered because that is not on his priority list. Yeah. You know what I mean? And those are the conversations we're having. When young people eventually come down to it, when you start to get in your 30s, just the pressures of life normally just start to happen. Sometimes it's not even external. That internal one is the worst. The battles where you see people who you started out with, everybody is now being serious. The friend circles you are hanging out with, everybody starts to drop off because all of a sudden everybody has more important things to do. Or even if they want, even if they want to interact with you, it has to be at a certain level. It's an energy level. Conversations have changed. The moment they talk to you and they realize you're still 20-ish, the conversation starts. And then, like, it's difficult for you to start to make sound decisions when your basic instinct is survival. Exactly. It's really difficult. So in your 20s, early 20s, like I said, you have a lot of leeway to make certain decisions. But going to what you are saying, even the decisions have to be calculated. Because is your passion project just a passion project? Or is it something you want to actually monetize? Wow. Because I could do a passion project because I love globe trotting. I love going around the world and like discovering new things. If I want to do that, is it something I want to monetize, or is it just a passion project because it gives me a certain level of gratification? It's just gratification. Really. Exactly. And there's not much that comes out. And I feel like a lot of young people now are pursuing passion projects. You know what I mean? I hope they don't get angry at that, because that's something I've ready for the tutor. But you know what I mean? Because at that age, what you're trying to do, like someone said something to me the other time because they lost their phone. And I was like, you didn't get another phone? They had an iPhone. And he told me he read somewhere and he said, if you buy something and you cannot buy it, I think he might have said 3 times or 5 times, then you don't have money to buy it. First repeat that. And I was like, wait, hold up. If you buy something. So for example, if I'm thinking of buying like an iPhone of 5 million. It gets lost and you can't buy it again and again and again. I think 3 times or 5 times, I forget the number. You don't have money to buy that product. So literally, if I'm to make a decision to buy an iPhone of like 5 million, I should be good with like 15. Exactly. Whoa. And I was like, that's deep. Because I was thinking about buying something, but I could only buy it twice. So we are thinking that just because you have money to buy something doesn't mean that you can. Exactly. So that goes into a lot of decisions young people are making. What are you spending your time with? How are you spending the resources that you have? Are you injecting them into things that have the capacity to help you build a strong foundation into becoming the person that you are? Or are you spending all this money and resources into passion projects that you haven't yet actually realized which direction you're going to take in life? I even think that the best way to say that, even before you reach that question, I think they can start with a self-evaluation. The things that you have done the last 3 years. Try to work on them. What can you build on them now? Exactly. If there's nothing, then I think the man has had an argument that defeats you. Because the other thing that young people are doing, I think a lot of people wait until they start earning money, have a sense of financial discipline. Like, I'll start doing this when I start earning my money. But even the resources that you have, the money that your parents give you to do certain things, if you sit down and do proper self-accountability and breaking down that money, what has that money done? If you're to say, this is what I wanted to do, this is what the money has done, and sit with yourself and look at the money that you've spent, you realize and one of the things that I really jumped on board, and I was already like, a lot of my friends make fun of me when they see me with Excel sheets and I'm trying to like do my finances. I'm not trying to be stingy, but I'm really trying to see the aspects that I spend a lot of money on. I always bug people from the supermarkets with receipts, fuel stations and whatnot, because I go back home, I go to that Excel sheet and I'm like, how much money did I spend today? What did I spend it on? Because at the end of the day, you realize you had a saving target, you did everything else, and you're like, I do not know what happened to this 100K.
You ask yourself, how is money growing?
Exactly.
But wait, man, you're talking about something that so now,
Yeah.
from what you're saying, it sounds like a refined mindset.
Yeah.
Now, how do I,
You
as
get to
Tumu
that point?
Siime, if I love an iPhone and all I care about is having that 2.5,
yeah,
how do I convince myself that when the 2.5 is in my pocket,
do it for something else?
I go, even if not that, if I go to buy a phone, I leave the iPhone and I go and I buy my Techno of 450,000, and I'm like, maybe on another day, I will afford that. How do I? Because that's difficult, bro.
And we've had this conversation before we started filming. Like, are you thinking about getting the new iPhone? And I said, well, this phone actually does everything that I need it to do. It's a different conversation if I'm talking to a young person who is a budding videographer and they want to use that as an editing tool.
Now that's a resource.
By all means.
That's a resource.
Exactly. Yeah. Are you spending your money on a resource? Or it's like telling someone who is young to buy a car. Why are you buying the car? Because the car is an expenditure. And it will keep on.
We have 50,000 followers on Twitter. How can we walk?
Are those 50 followers injecting fuel in your car?
No.
And I'm not against people who are creating the platforms. Yeah. But one of the biggest issues with content creators is, are you just building a following, or are you aiming at monetizing that following?
Are you seeing your whole life as a business
exactly,
or as gratification and pleasure?
If you just want the followers, by all means, please. And a lot of young people lately, and we did this because we worked in the media, people were trying to live lives that they could not afford. Yeah. You're borrowing. We had a session earlier with the young African leaders, and someone mentioned something and they said, you should never be borrowing money for luxury or for your own expenditure. That should never happen. You should never borrow money for expenditure on your luxury. That should never be money. That
should be borrowing 100K to host a bed, man.
Or 100K to turn up.
To turn up, man.
And I've done that with my friends. Yeah. If someone calls me and they ask me for money, and their first reason for asking for the money is they want to go and hang out, I'm going to have reservations sending that money. If someone calls me and say, hey, I want to buy this equipment, it's filming equipment, I'm short on 200K, could you? Or I need money because I'm trying to register for a course and I'm short on money. In a heartbeat, I'll send you that money. Because I know what that person is trying to do is build. Chances are high that that person who is borrowing that 200K to do something impactful, in a very short time, that person might not be borrowing money from you because they've already built a system that they can actually make money from.
And also their mindset, they're the ones that pay back.
For the other person, I'm thinking, today you want money to do this, tomorrow it's going to be a different expenditure. And the moment you do that, you're enabling that behavior. And we've seen it happen. And we all know black taxis. By the way, that's another thing. Like,
it's a lot of info.
One of the reasons as to why that I see young people struggle is black tax.
Just break that down for some of us. For people who are hearing black tax for the first time,
there is this, and people will come from it. I don't want to say the word entitlement, but there's this concept of we've worked hard, we've educated you, we've sent you to school. Now you started working, you're living the life. Please, by all means, you need to take care of us.
No.
I'm not saying that is wrong, and it shouldn't, because you're in a place where you can give back to family, you can give back to community, you can support your siblings because you want them to be at the point that you are. But by all means, I feel like that should be done with the person also in mind as well. It's okay for me if I know my family's maybe food expenditure. And I'll say at the end of the day, at the end of the month, I'm going to send 500K back home, for food. I could also say I'm going to go to the food market, buy 50 kgs of rice, buy 20 kgs of sugar or whatever, send it home. It's going to be very difficult if you do that at home for someone to pick up their phone and call you with personal issues. When you've sent money or you've bought food and taken it home, you've already supported them in that way. Or they've told you, your young sister is lacking this money to go to school, which is fair. Certain problems are okay. But there's this expectation and this entitlement sometimes family have of, no, it's even worse if you don't have a child yet. If you don't have responsibility of like, what do you use your money for?
They get angry that you're holding money.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do you use your money for? But then we forget that when someone starts to work, one, there's this excitement, and I'm not even going to say this, but there's this excitement of every single thing that I've wanted to do, every single thing that I wanted to access, now I can do with myself. But it's also such a defining stage in someone's life because besides just getting the job and getting to work, they're also at a stage where they're trying to build something. It's difficult for you to think about building yourself when you have all this that you're carrying. So most people start to spend their money slightly on themselves because they want to change their lifestyle, but a lot of it is going back to their families. And there's like very, very little that goes into developing them as individuals. Because like I said, you have the 20-30 gap window for you to learn and grow and start doing things. You cannot do that if financial discipline and lack of managing finances is one of your big problems, because you're just going to think about check to check. If you're starting a business, your mind is focusing on making it work. But when you have all these things that you need to look at, some people look at their phones and see who is calling and they don't even bother. Not because they don't want to have conversations with their family, but they know after the call of how are you doing, how is everything, there's going to be an issue at the end of the day. And it's not surprising why a lot of people cut ties with family. It's a bad thing because it shouldn't even happen in the first place. But it's that because someone is trying to strike a balance between I want to use this time, my youthful energy, to make something of myself so that I'm in a better position to support. But if they don't, then all of a sudden they are villains in their family because the family supported them too, Some families really do a good job in wait it is. We are here. But not to show that if the person goes home and they have gifts, they're not going to appreciate them. Everybody loves that when people they've seen grow up do that. But I think there should be a fine line in terms of managing expectations with what the families expect. And letting young people really develop who they need to be at the time, because that first money becomes really crucial into helping. If the person is just really fighting between making their family happy and whatnot, you're never going to have enough money to do anything else.
Oh, that's all. We are going to take a short break and then we shall be back with this wisdom. And this is not something you want to miss out. Welcome back. We are still on this groundbreaking podcast, the right people to meet. And I'm here with Shaban Senyange, a seasoned mentor, leader, nature boy. Hashtag nature boy. That was really, really I think, I don't know if sometimes, the impact that had. That brand of nature boy. I mean,
what's funny about that is I was looking for a Twitter handle. And I remember Lenz and Kay and Daniel Mumbere. The one is like, we should find one. And we're like, at Green Ranger.
Yeah.
I don't know what. And then someone said Nature Boy. I was like, no way.
Yeah.
It sounds off. It sounds, it's too cliche.
What?
And then I went back home.
Powerful.
I went back home and that's the thing that kept on ringing.
Yeah.
Ringing.
Yeah.
And then I did hashtag Nature Boy.
Yeah.
And it's so strange.
Yeah.
Like from that time, this is like 2017.
Yeah.
Up to now,
Yeah.
I walk into certain offices and that hashtag comes up.
It is so catchy.
I've had world leaders, I won't name drop, but if I might, you remember Papa Bush? Papa Bush.
Levels now.
No. He called me Nature Boy once and I was like, this is official.
Wow.
And then I was like, this is actually a thing.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say.
Do people know that we're talking about Barbara Bush, like the daughter of former United States President Bush? Or they think this is Barbara Bush from Kasokwaso?
There's a Barbara Bush in Kasokwaso.
Anyway, Shaban, we are really still trying to talk to young people now.
Right.
It's something that young people don't like to listen to.
Mm.
It is something that young people run away from.
Mm.
It is something that young people look at, and it's almost like, let's say, if you went to a gas station and you had fire in your hand, if they run away from it, they shouldn't run away from it. And that is self-accountability.
Oh, yeah.
They run away from it.
Mm.
I have come to realize that most people, especially between 20 to 30, they have like an encyclopedia volume, should I say, like of complaints of what has made them be where they are.
Right.
None of them even has a page of the role that they play into where they are.
Right.
You could talk to a young person, they will tell you why it hasn't worked with the last 10 partners. And they end up concluding men are dogs, women are dogs, or something.
Mm.
You could tell them, and they end up concluding why in Uganda nobody can be successful.
Mm.
Okay? There's nothing in Uganda, you're born and you're on the street. They will tell you why you can't grow, why education is not the key. They give you 50 reasons why a degree is useless, why education is useless, right? They even shame people who are academicians. They say, let's wait and see. Life. You think it's about luck, right?
Yeah.
Then ask them, you as yourself, are you a saint? Is there anything that you have done personally that may be responsible for holding you stagnant? Why do you think that's a mindset that is getting a lot of attention and it's growing and it's taking root in young people and it's almost impossible to flash it out of them?
I'll use a line I think a friend of mine told me back in the day. He said sometimes it's better to seek an apology than ask for permission.
Okay.
If that makes sense, because sometimes when you have a system that is not going to work for you and you can't be asking questions, it's better to seek apology than ask for permission. And that has worked for young people in a lot of ways, because when you see young people now, they're not scared to break down the wall. They're not scared to hold people accountable to all those fancy things.
Yeah, fancy statements.
I'm going to speak my truth. That is fair.
Yeah.
But there's also so much power into, like, there's this Uganda saying, I forget, like when you're pointing
one finger at somebody,
you have
3 or 4?
4, yeah. No, I think it's 3.
3
So
pointing
upwards.
Yeah.
And I think that is a concept that a lot of people are not.
Yeah.
Like you said, I think when you've been working towards something, whether it is or not, you're putting 100% in it, and it's not working out. To you, you've done everything.
Yeah.
There's that mentality that you've done everything. So it's easy to look outwards and just blame everything else that is happening, rather than hold it. Because the thing is, when you look at yourself in the mirror, chances are high you're going to see failure. Chances are high you're going to see all the late nights. You're going to see everything that you've done. It's literally a proper lens through everything that you've not done right.
Yeah.
Too. A lot of people, I don't think, have the guts to stomach that. So a lot of people run away from that because I don't think a lot of people can survive that, or people try not to even try to look into that.
It's too hot. It's scary.
Especially for when you're not ready, it's not going to happen. But what most people do, and it's okay for it not to happen in the actual time it needs to happen. It's okay to sort of step away, because sometimes I saw, and I'm going to deviate you a little bit and then we come back to that point.
Yeah.
With how young people want to be honest. And someone was telling me, before you react, before you say anything, before you even hold anyone accountable, before you even speak, is what you're, and even if it's the truth, is what you're saying true? Is what you're saying kind? But is it also the time for it to be said? It's, let me say you went to your friend's, and I will use an example maybe of something that you're very familiar with. A friend of you told you that he's going to premiere a movie, and you go to the cinema. Meanwhile, you haven't even seen the movie. You go to the cinema, and Conrad, you see 1,000 loopholes. But it's at the premiere. Everybody's talking about it, blah, blah, blah.
It's an achievement.
And then
it's a big moment for you.
Exactly. He comes and he asks you, what do you think of the movie? You could be truthful.
Yeah.
But is it the time for it?
No.
And what he decided to say was, I really love how much effort you put into this. I'm happy that the project you've been talking about 5 years or 2 years has actually come to pass. The crowd has stand up. It's really great. I'm proud of you.
That's now emotional intelligence.
3 days. They're like, by the way, we need to talk about this. Sits down and then tells them exactly how
what
they felt
yeah.
they could improve that movie or that project. Same scenario, handled 2 different ways. If I chose to be truthful in that moment, I'm like, dude, you wasted your time. Blah, blah, blah. To that person, they've spent years, they've spent resources, they've spent sleepless nights.
Exactly.
You're saying the truth, you're not being kind, but it's also not the right time.
It's the right time.
And a lot of people, when they're having those conversations, they do not say that. However, if someone said the same thing to you, you'd call that person rude and mean.
Yeah.
But when you're giving the feedback, you're very quick to use whichever descriptions that you want, just because you are speaking your truth.
Your truth.
So then again, when we're having conversations with people, even about things that are challenging, are you having a conversation or are you having an argument? Or are you trying to get your point across? A lot of times when I get into conversations with people and I see someone raising their voice, or I'm like, you know what? Maybe this is not the time to have this conversation. Let's get back to this later. Or I'm like, I'm right here. I can actually hear you. You can put your point across. Whenever I hear any crazy defenses of someone has changed language, or now someone is starting to abuse, I know better to disengage. A lot of people don't do that. We are so focused on being right. It's my opinion. I am the right person. And it goes for both ways, this generation and the other generation.
That's true.
And going back to self-reflection, I think when you do it, what is the intentionality? And it's okay not to do it in the moment. Then again, like I said, timing, emotions, and being kind to yourself. Because sometimes you just want to pat yourself on the back and say, I did it. It didn't go as planned, but I made a move. And there's a lot to learn from that. But when you have that conversation with yourself, what do you want to do? Because you could have a conversation with yourself, but all you're doing is throwing yourself a pity pat.
Yeah, it's true. That's really true.
But I could also be having a conversation with myself and say, hey, what did I set out to do? What is the outcome? What is the gap? Earlier today, we had a conversation with young people and someone talked about funding. And this panelist said, no one owes you anything. No one should fund your project if they don't want to. You're not entitled to their funding. What value are you giving this person to be able to put money in? Now, a lot of young people...
That's when we put a pin.
A pin, eh?
Putting there. Value.
What value are you bringing? It goes beyond anything else. And so the conversation...
What determines value?
Woo! Let's put a pin on that. because the thing is, when you do things that give value to somebody else, then it's going to attract.
Yeah.
The other thing is, a lot of young people, and I'm going to go back to value in a bit, is when, and I always tell this to people when they're starting projects, and we always say, start now, start whatever.
Start now.
But when you look at what you want to do a layout of, this is the project that I want to do. These are the targets. This is what I want to achieve in a month, in 2 months, in 3 months, in 5 months. This is a year from now. Then do another outline of these are the resources that I need. But then again, ask yourself, what can I start with now? What can I start with later? What kind of help do I need? If I reach out to Tumu Siime and I'm looking out to him as a potential mentor, am I just reaching out to someone and say, hey, I love the work that you do. I need help with this. Or am I reaching out and say, hey, Tumu Siime, I've been a huge fan of the work that you do. I want to start something similar. I've started this project. I've worked on this and this. I feel stuck here. Is this a challenge you've overcome? How can I learn from it? And that's a conversation when people are seeking out mentors. We think just because the person is up there, they're entitled to helping us. That person has a list of other things that they're working on. They're not priority on his list. He might have said he's happy working with young people, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's out there doing God's work, which I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
But even then, there's intentionality. When you reach out to someone, and I've had this with young people just saying, hey, can I have your WhatsApp contact? What do you mean you want my WhatsApp contact? What are we going to talk about?
Exactly.
What do I normally do?
Yeah.
I give an email.
Yeah.
Because someone is going to send an email
Yeah.
when they're being intentional.
They're being
I'm not
intentional.
giving you my WhatsApp. What do you mean my
Yeah.
WhatsApp number?
Yeah.
Because all someone is going to do,
Yeah.
and I'm not saying that now because
Yeah.
I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Before I was excited. Oh my God, someone looks up to me.
Yeah.
I need to help them.
Yeah. That's a skill.
And
That's a skill a person needs to learn.
Exactly. So
how do you present yourself?
how do you
How do
present
you make your
yourself?
impression?
Because this person has 1,000 other people.
They wouldn't have, even
That
if they
reach out
didn't
to
meet you, it wouldn't matter.
Exactly. So when you're reaching out to those people that you look up to, how do you communicate? Are you talking to them as people that, hey, I watch your show? Like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But when you reach out with specific asks, with specific intentionality, even when you dig deep into what the person is doing, this person sees someone who has taken time to study what they do. They've taken time to notice things about this person that they want to emulate. But most importantly, they have clear asks of the kind of help that they need. Young people don't do that. Young people reach out to you and they expect that you have time to help them. And then they think they're going to say, hey, how are you doing? I thank you for the great talk earlier. And then that's it.
They have no,
And then they expect you to figure out what they actually.
they have no training in the art of winning favors.
Exactly. Or someone says, I'm looking for a job. And then you're like, okay, what kind of job do you want to do? And then they say anything. If someone tells me anything, I'm not talking to them any further. What do you mean you can do anything?
Yeah, that's why. That means that you can't do anything. So that's what
You know what I mean?
You can't do anything.
And I understand someone saying that any job can do. I'm broke. I need money. That I can understand.
Yeah.
It's a whole different conversation when someone says, what I need right now is I need to make ends meet. However,
that goes back to what you said, how you draft your wording.
Yeah. However, my line of interest is comms, or like I'm interested in filming. But for now, I'm willing to take on anything as I make ends meet. If any door opens in this field, this is where my interest is. That is someone who is giving you clear.
There's intentionality in that.
Exactly. Yeah. Now you expect me with everything that is happening around me and me also having my own targets to sit there and think, Tumu reached out, he wants a job. He wants to do anything. How am I even supposed to start helping you? When I see the anything, how do I start reaching out to you?
Yeah.
You see?
I hear you.
Yeah, so putting a pin on value, then again, it goes back to everything that you're doing. Is it passion? Is it a passion project? Or is it an opportunity that you're thinking that is going to raise you money? And that really determines where you see most of your efforts going.
So in other words, even before we talk about value, have you done research on what's valuable, that is in line with what you like, and trained in that?
Exactly. Because you know what, like even when people are trying to determine what they're doing and young people are trying to figure out what they're doing, sometimes it's, a lot of people look for inspiration in different areas where they think you have to do something big. If you see a need in your community, if you identify something that you're passionate about, and maybe that is something that is representative of a need with the community, and you have a solution to that, and you can get money from that, you've created value from a problem. we've been talking earlier with young people who have turned plastic bottles into opportunity. Something that looks like waste, but someone is making piles from plastic bottles. Someone is making sewing thread from plastic bottles. And someone is making, textile material from banana waste peelings. You've eaten a banana, you've thrown, and it's turning that into, you know what I mean? So they're getting something that I didn't ideally see as waste, and then adding value to it, and then getting money out.
Can I interrupt you on that? There's this thing, I don't know if I'm the only one who's seeing it. Young people have become experts at lying to themselves. What do I mean? They think that, this whole fake it until you make it? What they do, they go and they say, Shaban. Shaban, they see the places he hangs out in. They see the car Shaban drives. They see what Shaban dresses. They see what phone Shaban has. They see which events Shaban attends.
Yeah.
So like, oh, okay. Now, let's say Shaban was moderating a panel discussion at Serena. Oh, so Shaban is always at Serena. He was wearing these clothes. He looked nice. Oh, so he looks good. Now, what do? They don't know that you did not fix yourself in that space. You did a series of events that made you arrive at that point.
Yeah.
But they don't know that.
Overnight
So
success.
what they do, they go buy the suit because the suit you're buying, it's in the shops.
Yeah.
And as long as you have money, you can buy it. You can go to Serena and enter in. They can go to the hotel and enter and take pictures.
Yeah.
And then when they reach that level, they assume they have the same value. And then when they assume they have the same value, it now starts to work against them.
Yeah.
Because just because you are in a picture side by Shaban, it doesn't mean that you have a CV that can command the same opportunity. And then they trap themselves in this whole thing of, you can be around Shaban, but for you, the opportunity that you actually truly worth is a tenth. Because just because you have created a mirror thing, and you're mirroring somebody, you're not that person.
Yeah.
So how do they escape this mindset of thinking that just because you're doing what somebody has done, you have the same measure of value as that person, or because you look like them outwardly? How can they navigate that?
The biggest challenge that I think a lot of young people have to overcome is the idea of overnight success.
It's not there.
It's a myth.
It's a myth.
When someone has has become a success overnight, a lot of people don't talk about the hours. Conan, you could sit here and edit a video in 5 minutes. Editing a video in 5 minutes is a highly skilled thing that you have to do, because this is something you do when you're filming.
Exactly.
You have to script before.
Exactly.
You have to curate everything.
From the level of
so that by the time you edit 5 minutes, you know exactly. You will ask the questions, you'll know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't see all that.
No.
They see
the final part.
So a lot of young people, like you said, going back to what you said earlier, it's fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
But the idea of the faking is easy because it involves the less chaotic road. It involves less hard work.
It's just
so most people will take that because they think it's a shortcut.
Yeah.
A lot of young people are taking shortcuts. And I think you get to your 30s and you realize, actually, I should have gone the other route. And that is when now life starts to say, you had enough time, and there's nothing as difficult. Not that it can't happen, because we've seen, like, the dude who, owns KFC.
I can understand that.
And not that can't happen to you at that time in life.
Yeah.
But you really have a lot of opportunity when you're younger to be able to do all that, to really put in the work. There's really no shortcut.
Yeah.
Even when people use the luck being thrown around, if you get the opportunity and you're not ready, that opportunity is not going to yield anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know personally, if there are certain spaces I got introduced to earlier, I know for a fact I would not have made the most out of them. And that is just an honest conversation I have with myself. But now I look at things and I'm like, yeah, because I can see through things differently. I'm not just looking for things because they're happening. I look at what is going to come out of this. It's the same thing when I'm invited to speak somewhere. When I'm invited to an event, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to this event, then what? I'm going to meet these people, then what? A lot of people are thinking about the thing happening, but there's no proper conversation about what is going to happen after. If I go to a conference and I'm going around asking for people's contacts, what am I trying to say? Do I have a plan of following up with someone and be like,
I think that now that word plan, people are doing things because they see everybody do it, and they don't know why somebody is doing that. Just because you've seen somebody, let me give you a very cliche example. You have seen a person shifting to Nigeria. You're like, oh, people are shifting to Nigeria. Oh, has it occurred to you that has it occurred to you that maybe the other person shifted because that's where the place of work is?
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to cut down on fuel.
Yeah.
Maybe they're trying to cut down on transportation, or maybe they identified a good school for their child.
Exactly.
Oh, have you thought of that? Oh, you think that people, for you're just doing decisions and you're not seeing the reason why.
Bandwagon.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think like that self-reflectiveness is what a lot of young people do not have. The other thing is, before you get into whatever it is you do, because Conan, what works for you might be completely different for me. A lot of people don't. Me and my friend introduced this thing where at the start of the year or at the end of the year, he does this reflective thing.
Yeah.
Where he says, what did you set out to do? Did you achieve it? And then again, and it's interesting because on our way here, I was talking to my friend and I said, I think my favorite group of people to hang out with lately are people I can be absolute idiots with and no filters and say exactly what's on my mind. But it will be the same group of people that will sit me down and say, hey, in March, you planned for this. Where are we? Where is the gap? How can we help?
Who is the growth? Who is the shortcoming?
Exactly. Because as much as you want to do whatever it is you need to do, even when you talk to the most successful people, they will tell you they got to where they did because someone pointed them in the right direction. Someone held their hand. This whole business of self-made, that's a whole different conversation, and I'm sure someone else will come.
Yeah, you will come back again.
How supportive is the community around you? And, let's not even say, man, this is family, this is friends. Sometimes you choose those people. You choose people to hang out with. If the people you're hanging out with are the people who are going to have you feed yourself with excuses, there's nothing you're really going to amount to in 5 years.
Or people who give you who encourage self-confidence.
There's that.
You have friends who tell you, no. For you deserve.
You know what I mean?
Like, what do you mean?
And it's okay. Let's not get this confused with friends who hype you.
Who hype you?
There's different of saying, no.
Yeah.
You deserve better. You should work better. And because they know they believe you.
Yeah.
There's that whole thing of you deserve it. But then when you sit down and ask them, what can I do? The conversation is going to end.
Because they are fitting your entitlement.
Exactly.
They are not cheerleading. They are not morale boosting. They are telling you,
exactly what you need to hear.
Yeah.
So I think that is the other thing that a lot of young people are lacking.
Exactly.
They don't have people around them that will really call them out.
So let's say if let's say we have that as a skill. I think what you're saying, these are skills.
Yeah.
You should sharpen your skill of selecting your circle.
Yeah.
If you think that everybody should be in your circle without any filter, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Which other skills? Give us like 5 skills that a person should have by 25.
By 25?
By 25. Are they the same for men and women? Or we can give general ones. We can give general ones.
Let's do general. If I feel like I need to specify, I'll let you know.
Okay, by 25.
By 25. Please, communication. It is such an important skill. And when people think about communication, I think it just means it could be as simple as sending and receiving messages. Let's go by that definition.
Yeah.
But when that happens, how are you crafting the messaging to the other person?
Yeah.
Are you someone who says you're going to send an email at 5 p.m. and then you end up sending it at 5:30? Are you the kind of person who says one thing and does another? Because that communicates something different from what you've communicated.
Exactly.
And that already breaks a lot of trust.
People say you look lousy.
Exactly. And this has not even has anything to do with your content. This is you communicating and staying clear with what you say you're going to do in your communication. Because a lot of people come up with excuses and they think someone has forgotten. I even have people guilt tripping you and forcing you to think you've forgotten what that communication was. So when you think about communication, what does that look like? How do you communicate? What is the tone that you use? Because different communication styles are going to work with different people. Are you the kind who goes into a room and then you think because, okay, we're going to go into accent in English,
Yeah.
or do you feel like you need to water down what you're saying to be able, because the whole point of communication is for the other person to receive the message with the same intent that you want them to have. It has nothing to do with superiority. It has nothing to do with wanting to show the brightest person. How do you communicate? And that some people who are good with psychology, they will read your personality just through how you communicate. I had someone who was looking into personalities just through handwriting.
Wow.
And I was like, that's crazy.
Yo, yeah.
So having proper communication skills is one thing. And I could tie communication skills with presentation skills.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing. Right now, you can literally be talking to someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, someone who is looking for a job, and then you ask them the simplest question: introduce yourself. Tell me about the things that you're passionate about. And someone doesn't even sell themselves.
Yeah.
How do you do like a one pitch? Like a 1 minute pitch, 30-second pitch, 30. Normally they do 1 minute because in 60 seconds, and it's the same tool I use when I'm going to meet people that I want to collaborate with. If I cannot talk to that person and pick their interest in a minute,
everything else is boring.
So work on your communication skills, formally, informally. Work on your presentation and pitching skills.
Exactly.
Because when you go to people, you need to have a very clear idea of, by the time I leave, I want this person to know me, what I want from them, and how we can work together. By the time you leave, especially at conferences, these people are going to meet 1,000 people. By the time you give someone that card, it should be because you're saying, I'm going to reach out after this conversation. It shouldn't be the first thing you give this person. You haven't talked. This person is going to stash the cards away. How is he going to remember you? That's the other thing is 25. If you can do any project planning and organizational skills, please do. Because it's at the stage where you're starting to plan your life. And these days, there's a lot of short certificates. There's the Coursera of this world. There's a lot of online resources for you to learn.
People don't realize that.
Exactly. So once you get that, it's really going to put a lot of aspects into it.
Something that can sort of refine you
Exactly.
from being this child that is unserious about everything.
Exactly.
Actually knowing that there are rules of how the game is played.
Exactly.
How adulthood is actually played.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other one that is so important that I picked up on today is financial literacy. Because it's also a conversation that parents don't have when kids are growing up. They will teach us how to be morally upright. They will teach us how to have an education. They will teach us how to dress and everything, but no one talks about finances. What do you do with money?
You have no idea how money comes into your life, how it gets used up.
Exactly. So before you get to 25, understand money. Where are you going to get it? How do you save it? How do you spend it? How do you make it work for you?
How you make it grow?
How do you make it grow? A lot of people wait to have the money, and then they start to think about all those questions.
They make jokes that if I look like this without money,
you know what I mean?
When I find the money,
exactly,
you will not find it.
Exactly. So I think those are some of the things.
Yeah.
And this is like day to day your life running skills. But a lot of it, I would say also, the one thing that I look back at and I'm thinking I should have is learning an international language.
Okay. It's
different ball game.
Really?
It's different ball game. Imagine if you wanted to do production right now and you have Chinese clients. What are you going to do? You're going to get a translator. You're spending money on that project.
Or at least it gets lost across translation.
Exactly. If China is a market you're targeting, but then again, it goes back to planning. I have a friend whose mom literally is just doing translation for the UN.
Wow.
And all she did was just learn a bunch of languages.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, in terms of wanting to break into certain markets and everything, I think about that now. I'm like, I should have learned an international language. I mean, I can read and write Arabic. That's a whole different thing. And I can speak. I can speak a bit of basics because my mom's tribe, is from that, and it's like dilute Arabic. Even up to now, I'm like, I should have, but I didn't. When I talk to my brother now and younger people, I'm like, if you can pick up an international one. But not just any because you want to sound fancy.
Yeah.
Think about where you want to go, which direction you want to take, and place yourself with that, because then again, you have a lot of leeway to learn a new skill.
Okay.
Get out of your comfort zone. Learn a new skill.
Get out. That's different now, right?
Yeah.
By 25, look at what you have.
Yeah.
And so what are the, this is now a very, very big thing.
Yeah.
Because before you choose to learn a new skill,
yeah,
at 25, sometimes the choice of skill can be affected by distraction.
Oh, yes.
You get, you're 25 and you think,
Yeah.
I should learn a new skill. And then you tell us you want to learn something you saw a celebrity do. Yeah. What is like a short sort of research that you can do to choose this new skill, and you say, I'm going to be so good at it?
Yeah. The first thing that I would do and what I did at that age was identifying things that I'm passionate about. Goes back to what I said earlier. If you find yourself seeing content in everything that you see every single time, and I have friends who do this all the time, I had to catch myself not to do it because I came from documenting travel stories. Every time I go to a beautiful place, I'm like, this would make an interesting story. That would be something that I was like, okay, I love making content. How about I get a skill in, videography or editing or study Adobe, so that I know a whole, if you're someone who loves writing, if you like journaling and stuff like that, maybe a short course in writing or like poetry or spoken word might be something you want.
And not in a casual form.
Exactly.
You are really
getting
serious to be professional.
If you like cooking, if you like hosting people, and maybe this is also a message I want to send to myself. Maybe culinary school might be some, you know what I mean? So, and this I also got from a friend, and I make a lot of references because some of the conversations I've had, casual conversations I've had with friends have been very reflective things for me.
Okay.
A friend of mine told me, every single time you sleep and wake up, that thing that you think about doing, when you think about work, that one thing that you want to do, that inner voice that keeps on ringing, maybe that is something you need to pay attention to. For me, that was something around nature. Even when I was thinking about content, I made it specific to nature. When I was choosing careers, I still had an alignment. So for me, even when I was doing things that looked like they were things from different sectors, they needed to tell a story that was true to who I wanted to be as a person, because it also doesn't make a lot of sense for you to have a whole bunch of different skills, but when you sit down to make those skills sort of come together, they're not cohesive. That is one thing to think about as well. Like, I'm not going to go and I want to be a footballer, but at the same time, I want to pick up culinary school, and at the same time, I want to get into med school. Even when you're doing different skills, there needs to be a certain level of focus. That when all these pieces come together, you're really targeting a particular life or like aim, your bigger picture in life. How does that all...
Not just something that is going to evolve into chaos.
Exactly.
And
conflict. The other thing is, like, a lot of young people, even us, at our age, we think once you sort one aspect of your life, everything else is sorted. That when you get the money,
that's it. You close all other
connectedness with family, community, everything else is like, life has this thing. You will do this. This is not working. This is not working. This is not working. So at the end of the day, how do you find something that grounds you? Because it's very, very important. And young people don't have that. A few who are lucky do, but you find people who have different interests everywhere. They have different passions. They have all these, exactly. They have all these voices everywhere. And now we have social media to run. So there's nothing that brings you back to, this is my place of centeredness.
You're not defined.
Exactly. For some people, it's prayer. Some people will find peace in prayer and come back to God and be like, this is my center. Because you need that thing that grounds you when things don't make sense. What is my turning point? A lot of people who are working overseas, you know what they do? They come back home because something about back home grounds them. For some people, it's a person. For me, it used to be my grandmother. Like, every single time I would call her, she would be like, everything is going right. You need to be humble. You need to, you know what I mean? So having conversations with her would, one, calm me down, but second, ground me. When you're back to that groundedness, even when you have a lot of air around you and things whispering to you and things that are telling you to go in different directions. Sometimes all you need is a moment of clarity. And you can only do that when your entire system is at peace.
Yeah, I understand.
You know, something that I learned from religion as well, they will say, don't overpromise when you're happy. In that moment, you're not thinking rationally, you're thinking out of excitement. Don't make a decision when you're angry.
Yeah.
You're not thinking rationally.
Yeah.
It also goes to spending. Don't spend money just because you've gotten a paycheck.
Oh,
you're going to make terrible financial decisions.
Exactly.
So, do you draw back and think through, even when you have all this excitement and anger going on, do you take a step back? And that for me makes it easy. First,
avoiding being reactionary.
Exactly.
And more of
exactly.
You intend to do something
Yeah. You talked about questions and how do you make a decision? And I remembered for me, I think it was 2009 or something. I got introduced to Ben Carson. I think we were in school or something. Yeah, the surgeon. Yeah, exactly. So I remember someone, and I was reading, and he said when he's making his decision, he asks himself 4 questions. Yeah. And he says, what is the best thing that will happen if I make this decision? What is the best thing that will happen if I do not make this decision? Yeah. What is the worst thing that will happen if I make this decision? What is the worst thing that will happen if I do not make this decision? Yeah. If you sit with yourself and go through all, I know it sounds profound and everything, but if you really have good self-reflection and have a conversation with yourself and then with other people, sometimes you don't even get to question 3. Yeah. And you'll know that decision is not good for you. But you know what's actually funny about that? People do this every day, but not about themselves. You just get a young person and tell them to go look for a new house. They will literally ask all these questions that you have just blown. They will, I don't know. Yeah. You ask them to go to buy a shirt or shoes. They'll even tell you what product is better, which brand is better. They'll be like, this one is good, but the sole maybe gets off very quickly. We do this with just about everything else. Why not do it for ourselves? I think I think how human genetics is wired, I think we are quick to, it's easier to, you see how, sorry to derail you. Yeah. You see how easy it is to give relationship advice when you're not in the relationship? No. It's because I think sometimes when it gets to you, you're clouded with other things. Yeah. There's fear. You know, you don't want to get when it gets closer to you, you exactly. You get into that whole, and that applies chaos. To everything. It happens with grief. You feel it more when it's home. Yeah. The happiness and everything. So I think when you are at the center of a decision, you get to realize how difficult it is. Dealing with your own chaos is really one of the hardest things. Yeah. So how do you deal with chaos at an age where chaos is a tool? You know what I mean? So it's an interesting dynamic, and I wouldn't say there's one thing, but the one thing that I used to do a lot, and I used to think I was going crazy, is I would journal. Yeah. I would journal my thoughts a lot, because sometimes I knew, and I know maybe young people struggle with this, we have this idea in our heads that no one is going to understand the situation. You know, they're not in my shoes and everything. First, maybe write that or do a voice note or talk to someone. Yeah. If you struggle to explain what that feels like or what you're going through in a moment, then maybe you need to refine that. It's the same thing with ideas. Yeah. And I used to do the same thing when I was thinking about research project or ideas to invest. Yeah. If I sat down with someone and I struggled to clearly explain what I want to do, maybe I needed to do a bit of digging. If I found myself really trying to convince someone about what I want to do, maybe there was a loophole somewhere. You know what I mean? Yeah. So once someone clearly told me what they understood me, to have communicated, then I know I've already communicated what I actually wanted them to understand, and that is it. I hear you. So, but a lot of people have this thing of, if they don't understand me, then maybe they are not someone I should be talking to. I hear you. You know what I mean? So now, let's try to expand it. 30. Now, 30 is a very, very, it's a very, very big. You see that reflective mirror? Yeah. It gets my God, bigger lenses. Oh my God, that's that 30 is an age whereby even deep inside, like you know that there are areas in your life where it's you
You.
Should I tell you how terrified I was to get to 30?
Everybody. I'm telling you, like, because you reach 30,
Yeah.
you reach 30, and any excuse you
There's
can
no
have,
excuse.
people will laugh at you.
Yeah.
Even if you came from a troubled background,
Yeah.
you've had
It's
30
you.
years. It's
Yeah.
you.
Well, not 30 years, but
Yeah. Okay. Even if let's say something bad is happening,
Yeah.
people say that you should already have the
figured it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you should know how to navigate the
Yeah.
things. What are the crucial? Because now I think that first of all you have to emphasize. I don't think that 30 means that you have run out of time.
No.
People really tend to
No.
panic, but I don't think that you're panicking.
No.
But I think that compared to your 20s, a mistake in your 30s gets really multiplied by
Exactly.
a very big factor.
Yeah.
So what, as a person starts to navigate 30s, what really should they have mastered? And what really is a really like a punishable mistake that can really literally disorganize themselves?
Punishable mistake.
Yeah.
I'm going to build on what you said earlier when you started the conversation.
Yeah.
Your 20s, even though they are chaotic,
Yeah.
they really
Yeah.
set the pace for what you should be doing.
Yeah.
And it's easy for people, like, sometimes you get to your 30s and you haven't realized, by the way.
Bah.
You're 26 one moment, and then the next
Oh.
thing you know, you're 29.
Yeah.
Building on the skills you've learned, if actually people go ahead and
Yeah.
learn these basics,
Yeah.
in your 30s, I think, and this really goes differently. If you're someone who wants to be an entrepreneur, that is the point where if you have an idea,
You should already
you should have
you should
started.
be focused.
You should have dealt with all the background, all the nonsense,
Yeah.
all the,
Yeah.
the hurdles that come with being an entrepreneur, that by that you've actually like realized. A lot of people talk about being financially free, financial freedom, and
Yeah.
they're going to get out of employment
Yeah.
at that age.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about that by that age, you should really be doing everything else before you get to that age.
Exactly.
And at that point, personally, and I read this somewhere where they're saying as a man, at that you're looking at stability.
Yeah.
But it's difficult to be stable when everything else is coming from chaos.
Exactly.
So at 30, the one skill that I feel like people should have and should be embracing is one, management.
Yeah.
How do you work with a team? How do you manage a team? Because that's the point. Even, I've applied for a job before to lead people.
Yeah.
And they told me on paper, you are exactly what we are looking for.
Yeah.
But the age is not going to cut it. I didn't get the job. Not because I didn't have the skills, but because they thought I was young.
Yeah.
I couldn't lead a team of people who are much older than I was.
Yeah.
Then again, maybe if this was a different country, something else would have happened.
Exactly.
But that was such a reality check.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
This actually happens?
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, it's because by 30, they expect your people management skills have gotten better.
Because you've in your 20s, you're past your chaos as a person.
Yeah.
You should be past your chaos.
Exactly.
A person shouldn't find you on your 30 and you
can't make decisions.
You can't make decisions. You're chaotic like a 24-year-old.
Exactly. You can't do conflict management. You can't sit down and talk to people thoroughly, discuss the issues, not the person. Yeah. Because that's very important.
Very.
A lot of people, when they're having conversations, they focus on, you expect to have that clarity. Then again, like I said, these are really personal skills.
Yeah.
And you can still build your personal skills through learning, through taking leadership courses, through, even like sometimes emulating what people, there's a lot of self-development books.
Yeah.
So at 30, as you're learning all these other things, I think for me, the big take would be, how are you, putting resources in yourself to better your personal skills?
No, you should be able to perform at a big stage.
Exactly.
You should be able to perform at a top level.
If you're 30 and you're not thinking about being, then again, if you're in the employment sector, you should be targeting a manager, or you should be a manager already. You should be, because even you as a person, when you're doing your self-reflection journey, and you've been in the same position for 4 years,
you
need to sit down and ask yourself, what am I not doing right?
Yeah.
Not blaming the system, not blaming every single thing around you. Are you not? And, we've had this conversation before where you told me, Shaban, with everything that you've done, you should be, that's the vision you had of me. And I sat down and I was thinking, dude,
Yeah.
I know him. He knows me. He
Yeah.
knows this. I know this comedy is not just coming out of the blue.
Yeah.
So I sat down with myself. It was very scary. I hated it. I got emotional about it
Yeah.
because I looked in the mirror and I said, if it's qualifications,
Yeah.
I have this and this and this and this. If it's this experience, I have this and this and this. What is not happening? Am I not in the right audiences? Am I not? And maybe that's the other thing. That then again, I'm not like trying to have like a double-edged sword and shooting myself in the foot. Maybe there's a thing as timing.
Yeah, exactly.
But the thing is, and where my curiosity steps in as well, is in the time that you're waiting, what are you doing?
Ooh, that's too powerful. That's too powerful. In the time that you're waiting, because a lot of people think that I think it connects to what we said before, whereby you've seen a person who's, let's say, in our field make a short film.
Yeah.
Trust me, that short film that he is doing, it might be paid for.
Yeah.
But everything that he's doing there, he learned when sometimes he wasn't being paid for. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what are you doing in the waiting?
What are you doing in the waiting?
Yeah.
If I tell myself, I want to build a house by 30, I'm 26, what am I doing on a day-to-day that is going to make me actualize that dream?
What is the breakdown of for the pathway to that dream?
I'm going to wait until 29. I look at my shit and I'm like, oh, I needed to have done by. And then I start panicking. You start making the wrong decisions because you did not do. Someone told me you cannot want a millionaire lifestyle, yet you're making decisions. I won't say the word, but they make such a contrasting comparison. Like, if that's the lifestyle you want to live, the decisions you make now need to be of someone of that lifestyle.
In other words, you have to really be aligned to your vision.
Exactly.
At 30, you have to know how to be aligned.
I don't have a job right now. I'm looking for a job right now. But what am I doing to align myself to be the best that they are looking for? Are you learning a new skill? Are you meeting the right people? Are you hungry enough to go knock on their doors and say, I know you're not applying, I know you're not calling for applications right now, but hey, I've been having interest in your company for long and I feel like I could be this resource. I know you're not, but here's my resume, just in case, just look through it. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing in terms of being aggressive to show that? And then again, most people mistake aggression for, I don't want to use the word disrespect, but just because someone feels that they need to, then all of a sudden they're entitled to be.
I think if I think the right way we can say it, or maybe I don't know, you could panel beat it. By 30, you can't have wishful thinking.
No.
Because it doesn't work. It's better to program your mind and know you will not get lucky. Nobody's coming to save you. Stop with the wishful thinking.
Exactly. And not to say that, by 30, we expect you to have all your thoughts and all your stuff together.
No.
But it's different for someone to be 30 and they do not know what's happening. It's also different for someone to be at 30 and say, hey, you know what? This was my plan last year. I'm working towards it. Things have not worked out, but I know if I keep working at it, this is what I want to do. Exactly. Sometimes you meet people at 30 and you ask them, what do you want to do? What are you currently working on? And there's nothing to show.
Not even that, as we are summarizing, because we're even running out of time. There's an answer that kills me. To find that a person has a dependency that is outside of their control for a plan. Like, you find a person that you're 30 and you ask them, like, so what are you doing? It's like, if the other person does this, then I'm still waiting on this to do. Like, it's like, you're 30, you should be in control. You should be in control. When we say you control, we don't mean the money. We don't mean, no. You should be complete. You should really say, okay, this is it. You have had enough time to experiment. You should say, I'm dying by this. I am aligning myself to this. So, Shaban, as we are winding up, but I think it's very important for us to say that if a person is 30 and they don't have any of these things that we're saying, it's not late. Because usually when you say that, people think, oh my God. Because probably somebody is 30, he or she is 30, they have realized that maybe the people that have been in their life, or the mentors they have hung out, or the mentors, or maybe who they have been prioritizing, or who they have been following and maybe holding in high regard, is not in. Fear not. It just means that you need to accelerate fast. It means that everything that you just have to really get over yourself and accelerate. what would be that one last thing that you would say to them, a skill that they need, and as we're wrapping this up?
And I'll say this because it's something that I struggled with.
Yeah.
It is absolutely okay to ask for help.
Wow.
Because I feel like when someone is hitting rock bottom, when someone has things that are not making sense, and age comes up as a number, people feel shame, people feel like no one is going to listen. There's so much power in being vulnerable. And you might be shocked at how many people are willing to hold your hand when you do this. And I realized that because, and I'm not saying this to make myself like sound a good person, every single person, close friends, family, reach out and ask for help. I will help.
Yeah. You find it hard
personally.
I know you. I know you.
Because I'm overthinking it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I feel like I'm going to burden them, but I have this problem. I have this challenge. Now the problem is a lot of people wait until
it gets
it's too late,
and even
it's
now,
too bad. And now that is the problem. Because at 30 you don't have more time to waste.
Have more time to waste.
Once you feel like you're struggling with something, please reach out and ask for help. But then again, and this is also something that I learned in the fundraising world. What kind of help are you asking for? Are you asking for help that is going to feed your immediate problem? Or are you trying to ask for help that is going to help you really set the pace for what you want to do later? A lot of people are reaching out because they have immediate problems. They have financial problems. Now, when you do that to people, they can do that once, they can do that twice, and they can help you. But when you have a plan and reach out to someone and the help that you're asking for is really setting you up for things that you want to continuously do, that's a whole different ballgame. So there is power in vulnerability. But there's also so much power in humility. And you see this a lot on social. People are not doing what they need to do, but oh my God, do they make so much money about it? I'm not saying like when you do things, you don't let people know, but there's an element to it that you can do. The other thing is when you are putting out information and reaching out, you really, really need to be intentional into how you want to brand yourself. Even someone is 30, but you go to their socials and every single thing that they're posting has no value. And lately, when you're applying, whether it's visas, it's even crazy. Visas, projects, funding, jobs, someone will want to look at your socials. And you post a lot of stuff in your 20s. I had to go back and do like a whole social media sweep. And this is from someone like me who doesn't post a lot of random stuff.
I even advise some people, you start a new account. And because there's
what I mean?
These things are for forever. And imagine you were just there at 27, abusing a young girl. Turns out the girl was a minor, or abusing a young boy. Turns out the boy was 13.
It comes back. And we've seen people lose their jobs, like outside the country. They bring up something from 10 years ago, and then they use it against you.
At least if you clean the soap, you can say, hey, man, I wish someone. That's why I cleaned soap. I was even feeling embarrassed.
So, I think just be intentional. And sometimes you stick to the plan.
I hear you.
You stick to the plan, be adaptable. And when I say stick to the plan, someone is like, no,
be spontaneous.
There's more like, this is what I saw, but maybe I could tweak it a little. I did not ever know that I would work for a vehicle manufacturing company.
Exactly.
It's never, I started driving. But in my head, I was like, this is where the world is going. I come from an environmental perspective. I know I can put value and make it work for me in this. Once I clearly define that, my mindset shifted. So when you have your plan, everything that is happening around you is a sign that you need to be very conversant of the environment around you, because things keep on changing. Your own interests change as well throughout your 20s to your 30s. If your interests are the same as you were at 20, that is, so stick to the plan, be adjustable, and most importantly, keep on evolving. See how that plan is working for you at that particular time.
Now, when it comes to Shaban Senyange, when it comes to information, we have known him for, when you have known a person for over a decade.
Crazy.
Now, that's really a
when
person.
When you say decade, it makes me feel old.
By the way, I think that can be a closing shot. I don't think that if you're doing the right decision, you should even be afraid of getting old.
I mean, yeah.
I think it affects people
It's
who.
growing. Salt and pepper, that's what I call it.
See?
Yeah.
So why you say that you're not even dying yet?
Oh, no, I love it.
You see?
Yeah.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching this podcast. And I really hope that you learned something from it. I think that every podcast is beautiful, but I think that if you really want to learn something, if you really want something that can challenge you, if you're a person that is willing to unlearn, if you're a person that is willing to relearn, if you're a person that is willing just to have your routine of execution disrupted, we shall have content for you. Until next time, bye-bye.